Have you ever found yourself wondering, does she like me? It's a question we've all asked at one point or another, especially when the signals are a bit mixed or unclear. But when it comes to interpreting the intentions of an older woman, things can feel even more uncertain. How do you know if she's just being kind or if there's something more to it? Well, today, we're not only going to break down the key signs that an older woman might be interested in you, but also explore how to interpret these signs through the lens of Stoic philosophy. If you've been trying to understand the meaning behind her gestures or attention, this video will help you navigate those subtle clues. But remember, it's not just about figuring out if she likes you, it's about how you respond to these signs while staying grounded in your own values and peace of mind. So stick around to find out more. 1. Thoughtful attention. Let's start with something that's often an obvious yet tricky sign when she gives you thoughtful attention. Maybe she's actively listening to your stories, making meaningful eye contact, and engaging in deep conversations. It might feel great, and it could certainly indicate her interest, but Stoicism reminds us to remain calm and grounded in these moments. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." If she's paying special attention to you, it might boost your confidence, but it's crucial to remember that this external validation is just that, external. Your worth isn't determined by someone else's focus on you. For example, let's say you're sharing a story about a challenge you overcame at work, and she's hanging on to every word. She's nodding along, asking follow-up questions, and clearly invested in the conversation. While that's definitely a sign of interest, Stoicism teaches that your sense of self-worth should not depend on these moments. Appreciate the attention, but don't let it inflate your ego or alter your internal balance. 2. Consistent acts of kindness. Another sign that she might be interested is if she's consistently doing kind things for you. Maybe she goes out of her way to help you with something, or frequently offers small gestures of kindness, like remembering your coffee order or sending you a thoughtful message during the day. These actions could be more than just politeness. But how should you interpret them without getting carried away? Seneca, another renowned Stoic philosopher, once said, "The greatest blessings of mankind are within us and within our reach. A wise man is content with his lot, whatever it may be, without wishing for what he has not." What this means in our context is that while it's great to receive kindness from others, you must not let these gestures change how you see yourself or your situation. Let's say she brings you lunch because she knows you've had a busy day. That's definitely a sign of thoughtfulness, and it might even be an indication of affection. However, a Stoic would accept this act of kindness with gratitude, but not with the expectation that it must lead to something more. Be appreciative, but keep in mind that your inner peace doesn't rely on the actions of others. 3. Sharing personal vulnerabilities. When someone opens up about their personal vulnerabilities, it's a clear sign of trust. If an older woman shares her deeper fears, past struggles, or personal experiences with you, it could mean she feels safe and comfortable around you. Stoicism, however, teaches us to approach vulnerability with care and respect, both for ourselves and others. Marcus Aurelius cautioned, "Do not waste the remainder of your life in thoughts about others when you do not refer your thoughts to some object of common utility." This reminds us that while it's meaningful when someone shares their vulnerabilities, we must handle these moments wisely and not lose sight of our own purpose. For example, if she tells you about a tough experience in her past, such as a difficult relationship or a personal loss, this is her opening up to you on a deeper level. This could signal a desire for emotional connection, but your role in this situation isn't to jump to conclusions about her feelings. Instead, a Stoic listens and provides support without allowing their own emotions to take control. Imagine it like this. You're a harbor in the storm. You can offer safety and understanding without becoming swept up by the storm itself. Her vulnerability is valuable, but it's your ability to remain stable and respectful that truly matters. 4. Non-verbal cues of affection. We often communicate more with our bodies than with words. Non-verbal cues like leaning in when you speak, smiling frequently, or holding prolonged eye contact can indicate a level of affection. However, Stoic philosophy teaches us not to become attached to these external signs or let them dictate our emotions. Epictetus famously said, "We suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgments about them." In other words, it's not the non-verbal cues themselves that should influence you, but how you choose to interpret them. Maybe she touches your arm lightly when she's talking, or her body language is more open around you. These could indeed be signs that she's interested, but they're just gestures. They don't define your value or who you are. For example, let's say you notice her leaning in closer to you during conversations, holding eye contact a little longer than usual. These might give you a clue about her feelings, but a Stoic doesn't allow these signs to create unnecessary hope or anxiety. Acknowledge them, but maintain your focus on what you can control, your own thoughts and actions. 5. Time spent with you. Time is one of the most valuable things a person can give. If she's investing a lot of time in you, whether it's through long conversations, spending time together on weekends, or even just making time to check in regularly, it's often a strong indicator that she values your company. However, Stoicism reminds us that while time is precious, we shouldn't build expectations or hopes based on how much time someone spends with us. Seneca advised, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." How does this apply here? Well, if she's spending a lot of time with you, it's easy to imagine that it must mean something significant. But a Stoic would caution against reading too much into it or creating a narrative around it that might lead to disappointment later. For instance, let's say she starts inviting you to spend time with her frequently, whether it's meeting for coffee or simply having long phone conversations. While it's a great sign that she enjoys your company, Stoicism reminds us to live in the moment without letting these experiences create false expectations. Appreciate the time together, but don't let it shape your sense of self-worth or cloud your judgment. 6. Engaging in deep conversations. When someone starts engaging you in deeper conversations about life, philosophy, or personal goals, it's often a sign of admiration or respect for your intellect. If she's interested in discussing meaningful topics with you, it could indicate a connection beyond the surface level. However, Stoic wisdom tells us that these conversations should be an opportunity for mutual growth, not a way to seek validation. Epictetus once said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." In the context of these deeper conversations, this quote serves as a reminder that your goal should always be personal growth, not seeking approval from others. Maybe she brings up discussions about purpose, personal struggles, or the meaning of happiness. These are great opportunities to connect, but remember that your goal is to refine your own philosophy and learn from the exchange, not to impress her. For example, if she starts asking for your thoughts on the meaning of success or shares her own views on what makes life fulfilling, engage with her in a thoughtful way. But always keep in mind that you're participating in these conversations to deepen your understanding of yourself and the world, not to gain her admiration or validation. 7th, encouraging you. Subtly encouragement is one of the most powerful forms of support, and when it comes from someone you respect, it can feel especially significant. If she's frequently encouraging you, whether it's supporting your career goals, personal projects, or even small day-to-day decisions, it might signal that she cares about your success and well-being. However, as a Stoic, it's essential to recognize that while encouragement is valuable, your inner drive should remain independent. Seneca reminds us, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." What this means is that while her encouragement can be helpful, it should never become something you depend on for motivation. Her words of support should serve as a reminder of your potential, but your drive for self-improvement should come from within. For example, if she's constantly telling you how talented you are or pushing you to pursue your dreams, take that as a compliment. But remember, a Stoic remains focused on their own path. You should continue to pursue your goals because they align with your values, not because someone else believes in you. Encouragement is nice, but it shouldn't become the foundation of your self-worth. 8. Taking the initiative to make plans. If she's the one reaching out to make plans or initiating contact, it's often a strong indicator of her interest. But as Stoics, we're taught not to let external actions like this dictate our emotions or sense of self-worth. Marcus Aurelius said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." Imagine this scenario. She's the one who regularly reaches out to suggest you hang out, whether it's for dinner, a hike, or just catching up over coffee. While this is a positive sign, Stoicism advises us not to let these gestures build up our expectations. Don't attach your happiness to her actions. Enjoy the plans and the company, but remain grounded. Whether she initiates plans or not, your sense of fulfillment should come from within. Think of it this way. If one day she doesn't reach out as often, a Stoic would still find contentment in their own life, not allowing the external change to disrupt their internal peace. 9. Respecting your personal space. Respecting someone's personal space is a sign of maturity and understanding. If an older woman shows respect for your boundaries, it can be a strong indicator that she values your independence and isn't looking to control or overwhelm you. This, in itself, can be a subtle sign of affection, particularly if she encourages you to maintain your individuality. Epictetus taught, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." Respect from another person, especially when it comes to personal space, is crucial because it aligns with the Stoic ideal of knowing oneself and remaining true to who you are. If she encourages you to pursue your own interests, take time for yourself, or simply respects your need for space, it's a good sign that she's emotionally intelligent and cares for you in a balanced way. For instance, imagine that she doesn't get upset if you want to spend a weekend alone or focus on a personal project instead of spending time together. A Stoic would recognize the value in this mutual respect. She's not trying to impose herself on you or dictate how you spend your time, and that's a positive sign. At the same time, you should respect her independence in return. 10th, consistency. Between her words and actions, actions speak louder than words, and Stoicism places great emphasis on the idea that a person's actions should align with their words. If she says she values honesty, trust, or loyalty, and her actions reflect those values consistently, it's a strong sign that she's genuine in her feelings toward you. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Consistency is the hallmark of integrity, and in the context of a relationship, it shows that someone's intentions are clear and dependable. For example, if she says she wants to take things slowly but still makes time to see you, supports you, and communicates clearly, then her actions and words are in harmony. This is a strong indication that she values you. But Stoicism reminds us to stay grounded and not to rely too heavily on external validation, even when things seem to be going well. Whether her actions are consistent or not, your inner peace should remain intact. Conclusion. So, does she like you? After exploring these 10 signs through the lens of Stoic philosophy, the question might seem a little less pressing than it did at first. Sure, the signs might be there: thoughtful attention, kind gestures, spending time together. But the Stoic approach teaches us that while these signs are valuable, they shouldn't shake your inner world. As Seneca wisely said, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. Whether or not she's interested, your sense of fulfillment comes from your own path, your own virtue, and your own control over your thoughts and actions. If you notice these signs, appreciate them, but remember to remain grounded in your own inner peace and sense of purpose. Attraction, affection, and relationships are part of life, but they don't define who you are. Embrace the moments, live in the present, and let the Stoic principles guide you toward inner strength, no matter what external signals come your way.